just a minute, before we dive into the rest of our program, I have to ask the room, who has read Winners Take All, or the book by Anand Giridharadas? Anyone? Okay. What's the vibe? Excited, shocked, frustrated, agree, disagree? I think all of us here felt a little bit of a personal attack, because if we're connected to philanthropy at all, he's calling into very question what we do and why we do it. For those of you who haven't read it, essentially it says that rich individuals use philanthropy to continue to hold their place in power in the world, and that we're helping them do that. Ouch. It wasn't the easiest thing to read, but it also wasn't the newest thing to read. If you think about tons of historical examples, we could go all the way back to biblical times, even in our own century. If you think about the robber barons and the wealth they amassed, exploiting people, spilling that money into foundations bearing their name with the goal to help people. And this concept and this dichotomy is really, really complicated. So what's our role? Particularly my role, I'm a corporate funder. I really had to think hard about that. I work at Rodan Fields. We're the #1 skincare brand in North America. We've got over 250,000 consultants in 3 countries. We're a big company. And I'm really, really proud of all that we've done. In fact, our founders themselves are very philanthropic. They started a foundation before we sold our first product, and we celebrated giving away $10 million last month in our 10-year history, which was really exciting. So if I'm a corporate social impact, how do those things match up under Giridharadas' framework and philosophy? I think they have to coexist, and I think they can, and I would ask all of you to be thinking about how you can be a servant leader. Servant leader is also not a new term. It's from the 70s, a book by Robert Greenleaf, and essentially it calls us to serve before we can actually lead. And if we think about all of those we're trying to serve and really put them at the center of what we're trying to do, we essentially can create collective impact. Now, I've had some real pleasure working for social impact leaders in my career. I've had the chance to work with Professor Muhammad Yunus, who put women at the center of solving for economic challenges, creating one of the first people to create microlending, which won a Nobel Prize. Very exciting to get to work at Donors Choose, which many of you know about. Charles Best, who put teachers at the center of solving for classrooms. Pairing that with an online community, you had one of the very first crowdfunding sites that ever existed. Also super transformative. So now at Rodan Fields, I really wanted to work thoughtfully with our partner Build On. Build On's here tonight. Hopefully you got to meet a few of the students. They were greeting at the door. There's a few from Oakland High. So Build On works to break the cycle of poverty, illiteracy, and low expectations for 5,000 high school students each week. Oakland High is one of those high schools. We wanted a volunteer program that wasn't about the volunteers. We put the students at the center of this program. And we took our time. We piloted, we pivoted, we tried a couple different things. And what we came up with was a 36-hour immersion program, which we brand as Changemakers. But it's now available across the Bay. And one of the things we discovered when we put students at the center was it gave them an opportunity to lead. Our adult volunteers showed up ready to be led by the students, and they were humble, engaged learners of what the students were showing them and teaching them, not showing up as adults trying to fix everything, which is sometimes hard for us adults to do. Our brand really, really benefited from this program. We shared what we did, and we got great buzz. Build On had a new corporate partner program that was really youth-focused and youth-centered, and then it got replicated. Mackenzie stepped in and helped Build On try to think about how they could grow and scale, and now dozens of companies are doing this. It's super, super exciting. And I think back to, I'm so glad we didn't just write a check. I'm so glad we stopped. We thought about all of those we were trying to serve. We designed something very unique, and now I'm so proud that other companies are taking advantage of it. So my challenge to all of you, think about where you are in the servant leader hierarchy. For-profit, nonprofit, your own community, your own team. You all have a role. You have somebody above you, you have somebody below you. Think about what you're trying to achieve. Think about all of the stakeholders. It is possible for corporate and social impact to exist side by side, and for each one of you to design programs that have meaningful change so we can all build a better Bay. And no better place to start than the people next to you in this room. You're surrounded by your fellow servant leaders, so take advantage of this community. The final thing I'll say is that Gerhardus's quote that was very provocative was that generosity should not be a substitute for justice. And I would challenge that all of us can work side by side to make generosity and justice something that can coexist. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.